Welcome back to the Everything Goes Podcast with your host, TAK. A weekly podcast with the latest sports news, the hottest of the hot takes, and the best predictions you can get. Now, Chris, Ace, take it away.
What is up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Everything Goes Podcast with your wonderful host, TAK, episode number 218. We are live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, where we are coming at you guys. Free agency is finally here, man. This is my favorite time of the year. We're finally through a little bit of the offseason. Coaches are kind of hired. We're kind of building up these teams. Free agency frenzy is insane on day one. Today is day two. We'll dive into all of that. We're going to dive into grading our teams, what that looks like, where we think Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson's going to land, the best and worst moves by franchises. We got plenty to talk about. I mean, free agency is absolutely insane because every year it looks more and more like a Madden football game because there's like no loyalty anymore. People are traded after 2 years. People want to be traded. People are cut. I mean, it's insane. Day one. I mean, day one is notification after notification after notification after notification. I'm like trying to work,
breaking,
but
it's never Dallas, so I'm not worried about
trying to look, man. Like to make things worse, like Twitter goes down while Twitter was down for like the first like 15 minutes of free agency.
Wow,
sabotage.
Yeah, Chris, we don't. I mean, with this new general manager and the new coach for the Vikings, I actually have something to kind of root for. Normally, this was our sort of ho-hum period as well. So I get it, Chris. You just turn the notifications off or don't even have to worry about the notifications coming through.
Our last big splash was like Brandon Carr. Like, and before that, it was like nobody. Like, it's just, I know we're never doing anything on the day one. And that's the thing that ticks me off about the Cowboys. We moved all that money around, got like almost $60 million in cap space, and just sit back.
I think they said it's since 2015 they have never signed a free agent over like $8 million.
Yeah, Brandon Carr.
That was it was Greg Hardy.
Oh, that was before 2015. Hardy was back when the Cowboys won Super Bowls in the 90s.
Nope,
wasn't it?
No, you're thinking the wrong guy. Greg Hardy's the guy that ended up going to like MMA.
Anyway, we don't do anything. We just we'll pick up in the draft, and that's when I'll get excited.
I mean, like this is the fun period, right? You have free agency, it's a couple weeks, and then the draft's coming up in April, right? And then you have like that gap where it's like, all right, now it's a little boring. Like,
P.S. So the draft is in Green Bay this year, which is going to be pretty wild. I feel like a small town, all the media just swarming into Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, where do you think they do it?
Center or nothing?
Like, right in the city.
There's no city center basically.
Yeah, it's got to be at the stadium. It has
to turn
outside the stadium.
Turn the heat on the turf, and is just gonna hope for the best.
Oh yeah, it won't be as cold, I guess.
They're gonna get a blizzard. You watch.
All right, so diving off the starting up. I don't know. Jumping in. Here we go. Free agent grades. Let's before we talk about some teams, like let's dive into it. Ace, like, what is your grade for the Minnesota Vikings? More active today than they were yesterday. Big. That's a lie. Was it today that they signed those defense tackles, or was it yesterday?
They signed the center Kelly yesterday, and then I think this morning they signed the offensive guard, two offensive linemen from the Colts, and then Jonathan Allen today as well, I believe. They're closing in on Hargrave. Obviously,
the guy from the Niners?
Yeah.
Who's the guy from the Niners, the defense tackle?
Yeah. Vernon Hargrave. Honestly, these were positions of need. It's like, I mean, it's a lot of money given out to these guys. You never know how it's going to turn out when you play. Yeah. Allen fits the scheme defensively. I imagine Hargrave was in 4-3.
You're giving him $20 million a year.
Ooh. Well, we had to re-sign Murphy too. So I think Murphy, the cornerback, and Jonathan Allen are getting around the same contracts, about 3 for $60, I think it was. Which sounds right about Allen's contract. The Colts guard 5 for $88. That's insane for like it seems like a lot, but obviously he's got to be a like marquee player. It's kind of weird to poach 2 offensive linemen from one team too. But I mean, grade wise, A. Fuck it.
Ooh.
A plus.
Ooh, there you go.
It's early, but you got to be excited
Super
with
Bowl.
what they've got.
Super Bowl. I mean, you build the trenches, and that's what a lot of coaches say wins the games is the trenches, offensive line and defensive line. And, you know, you hear the rumors of Daniel Jones. Like, what was your reaction to Daniel Jones and the Vikings trying to get him into Minnesota. Like, would that have been a competition for JJ, you think? Or you think they want to go with JJ and have him as the backup? Like what are your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people want JJ and see what JJ has. I mean, you wasted a first round pick on him.
I would have liked to have kept Daniel Jones because we don't have anyone else at this point. Like Rudy mentioned in the text, I'm pretty sure they got obviously
Aaron Rodgers
to Seattle. Yeah, maybe Rodgers comes, but we got rid of Mullins, Darnold, and Daniel Jones. I would have liked to have him even if they compete to start the season. Because think about it.
Yeah.
Is like Anthony Richardson that much better than JJ, or JJ that much better than Richardson? You don't really. So maybe he thinks Richardson with the injury history, he's going to get more playing time.
I think there's more chance of
maybe Kirko's coming back home on a discount.
Maybe.
Stop it. No, Chris, don't you?
I think Richardson in the Colts is more of a question mark than JJ, because JJ looked really good in the preseason. And then obviously no one got to see him during the regular season. You know what I mean? I mean, Richardson, you have the whole, I'm tired, I don't want to play this down. You know, you've seen him play. I mean, the talent's there. It's just a matter of not if he hits the ceiling or not. And Daniel Jones, you know, we've seen some highs and some very lows in New York. So, I mean, I think they're bringing him in and they're going to let him compete and see what happens. But I mean, Minnesota, man, there's plenty of veterans you could pick up. Marcus Mariota's still out there. You have, who's the other? Carson Wentz is another one floating around there. Like, just guys you could pick up for a backup. Gardner Minshew, just a good backups. You know what I mean? Or just draft a guy and have him compete with JJ.
There's nothing wrong with letting JJ sit out another year. There's nothing wrong with that. They used to do that back in the 90s, man. Sign a quarterback. He sat on the bench. There's nothing wrong with that.
Is Ryan Fitzpatrick? Is he coming out of retirement?
No. Maybe you guys can have Dak.
So what is Rodgers going to want? Because I don't think he's in a position to command, hey, I want this player, this da-da-da. It's got to be the contract to work out, if anything.
I think he wants a ring. I think that's the only thing he's missing is a ring. He don't need money.
Yeah.
I think he's just trying to find the right setup. You know what I mean? Like, oh, do I go to Pittsburgh? Now they got some talent at wide receivers. Do I go to New York Giants? Because then I don't got to move. But I mean, really, do they have that great of a team? Tennessee is intrigued. But I mean, what is even going on in Tennessee?
Hold up. I forgot. Vikings re-signed Aaron Jones to a 2-year deal.
That was a good one too.
I mean, Rodgers and him, those later years in Rodgers' career with the Packers, absolutely loved having him. So maybe that's a little carrot to dangle. I don't know.
I'm sorry, Rodgers 2 years off of his injury. I don't think it's a bad move.
I don't.
Yeah, he can still spin it.
Me personally, I wouldn't want Rodgers. I think Rodgers for the Vikings, though, wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, he says he wants to mentor somebody. Give him 1 year, mentor JJ coming off a big injury. It's not bad at all.
Quarterback. There you go.
You're playing inside. You know what I mean? Inside a dome, however you want to say it.
Make his deal an incentive-based deal. You know, $5 million, $10 million base salary. Throw so many touchdowns, you get a bonus. Get us to the playoffs, you get a bonus. You get a Super Bowl, you get a bonus.
Yeah.
$5 million for a Hall of Fame quarterback just would like boggle my mind. But I mean, you never know.
I'm just saying it could be $5 million, but it could end up turning out to be $20 million if he gets all of his incentives. You know, so many touchdowns, so many wins, so many this and that. I mean, you can line their contract with so many different things. I mean, but really, do you want to spend $30-40 million on a 1 year quarterback? No, it's not worth it.
No.
So Ace gives the Vikings an A. That's a heck of a grade. You know, they address running back, bring back your running back, address the trenches. You said they needed some cornerback help. So like, who's a player or two that you're like, I would love it if they extend their hand and try and get this player?
Well, the Saints got him. Justin Reed would have been really
great
nice
pickup,
to have.
Man. Great pickup.
They were Javon Holland, I think, was another one for Miami, which would have been a nice
Giants. Went to the Giants.
What was it? Samuel, cornerback.
Samuel. He's still a free agent.
In Flores' system, he needs guys that can play man coverage, cornerbacks that can play man coverage. So honestly, I don't know what free agents are available or what rookies would kind of fit that mold. But I mean, maybe that's Samuel. I don't know. Either way, we need safety help too, because Harrison Smith's my age, so mid-30s, which obviously for an NFL player is not that good.
He's been playing for a long time.
Yeah, so I think they're going to sign him, let him, basically retire as a Viking, but we need to replace him too. Yeah. So we'll see. Samuel, I have no idea who the rookies are coming out, but I think if there's any more moves, it end up might be it's got to be a quarterback and probably cornerback. both of those two likely.
Yeah. All right, Dad, going down to Dallas, who, I mean, NFL just loves talking about Dallas, tweeting out memes of an empty field because Dallas just isn't making any moves for the whole first day. Except your long snapper. I think your long snapper got a pretty big deal.
Well, it's important because we have a Pro Bowl kicker who kicks a lot, so we got to make sure he makes another Pro Bowl. So you got to have a good snapper.
How are we feeling down in Dallas? You know, what would you give your team a grade right now? How you feeling?
A C+ just because we did something this early. That's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Javonte Williams from the Broncos, who's a third down back. Basically, he's a straight line runner that catches a lot of balls. Third down back, great. We got one running back on our roster. They already said they're not going to take Janty in the draft, so who knows what's going to happen with this team. I don't know anything about your Peyton Turner, but he was a first round pick. And
I got a picture of him. There it is, Peyton Turner.
Apparently, we like first round pick bust because we picked up Solomon Thomas too for defensive tackle. So
that's the guy from the Jets, right?
Yeah. So apparently, we like.
I gotta show this picture too for all the Vikings fans out there. Jonathan Allen, I missed it. I'm sorry, Ace. Yeah. Hey, going back to Peyton Turner though, Peyton Turner, I think he was out of Houston University. There's still a huge question mark about him. That's why I told you before the podcast, a 1-year deal is actually probably a great deal for him because I feel like there's still a lot of ceiling left for him. He battled some injuries, and we all know how the Saints medical staff is. You get injured, next it's a 2-week injury, but you're out for like 4 months. I just don't think he fit the scheme in New Orleans. I don't think they gave him the playing time that he could have, earned. And I'm kind of excited to see what he pans out to be in Dallas. Because I mean, there's a lot of people that sign or trade for a first round bust, if you want to say it, and a new change of scenery like really just develops him into a better player. Maybe you got a better D-line coach over there than we had currently under Dennis Allen.
But the good thing is they're all 1-year deals except for Solomon Thomas. It's a 2-year deal, or a 3-year deal to give him 2 years, I guess, guaranteed money or whatever. But the problem is Dallas has so many holes. We let Jordan Lewis go. Chauncey Golston's gone. He went to the Giants. We don't.
Where did Jordan Lewis go? I did see that notification, and I forget where he went.
It
was a lower team,
I think Jaguars.
Yeah,
Jags. Mm-hmm. But the problem is we didn't pick up a receiver. There's no good receivers really left out there. Maybe Hollywood Brown. We don't have anyone to take the pressure off CeeDee Lamb and Dak. So we're gonna have to address that in the draft. So now you're bringing in a rookie. So hopefully at number 12 they pick the best receiver available.
Would you take Keenan or Cooper?
No,
maybe
Keenan Allen. Yeah,
Keenan Allen is always injured every year. No matter where he goes, he's injured. He's guaranteed probably 8 to 10 games a year, if that, and that's a good year. So I don't know. I don't want to pay someone that's not going to play. If you're going to bring in someone that old, you might as well just go get a rookie.
I mean, I would take Keenan Allen for like $6 million though.
I mean, I don't know.
Even though he may get injured at times when he plays,
I would probably go with Hollywood Brown just because he's he's probably younger. I mean, he has injuries, but still. He's younger, but we need someone that's going to be a flash in the pan that can go out there and run around. Our luck, we'll probably get Tyler Lockett because that's what we do. We get these 31-year-old receivers that have been around. We had Brandon Cooks, who was washed up. Now we'll get Tyler Lockett because he has ties to Schottenheimer. We don't trade for big names like DK Metcalf and
which shocked me going to Steelers. I was out of the blue.
Yeah. Sorry, Marquise Brown signed back with the Chiefs.
So there you go. We're drafting a receiver, number 12, taking a draft pick. And you know what? My thing is I'd move back. I'd move back in the draft, and there's going to be plenty of receivers to pick from. Stack some freaking picks. Maybe move back and get a first and a third. Might as well.
How many picks do the Cowboys have?
I think we have 10, but majority of our picks are first, second, fourth. We have like 3 of them in the 5th. We have nothing in the. I don't think we have any in the 4th round at all. It's either the 4th round or the 3rd round. We don't have the draft pick. So they can always work their magic with that number 12 pick and get a draft pick there.
Mm-hmm.
But
how are we feeling about like Dak, clearing up some cap with his restructure, and CeeDee Lamb, I believe, also did it too. You're like, do you think they're going to sign Micah? Like, what's the vibes going?
Well, they're saying now Micah's going to get between 40 and 45 million a year now. So the problem is you're kicking Dak's money down the road. Sure, he went from 89 million this year, guaranteed on his contract, to 50 something, but next year you're paying him 79 again. So you're going to keep kicking that can down the road. You'll never get out of that deal.
The market doesn't help either. They're kind of been dragging their feet with it. And then you see,
I would
Max Crosby. Max Crosby gets this massive deal. Who the guy from the Browns?
Garrett.
I mean,
Myles Garrett.
massive
and the
deals.
Eagles signed their main guy. So I honestly, look, I don't see them giving that much money to Micah. They probably will because we're stupid. will never be relevant again. So I would trade him. I honestly would trade him. See if you can get a first and maybe 2 first-round picks out of him, or a first and a third and a fifth or something. But why pay all these guys that money? You're never going to have a competitive team. We're going to keep doing this, pushing money down the road, signing guys for 1 year, pushing money down the road, signing guys for 1 year. We'll never see the glory days of the 90s again.
It's tough.
Do they like? There, you can tell with Howie Roseman, he's a guy that sets the market. He's very aggressive, and he's the one that kind of dictates what guys should get. Whereas like the Bengals, the Cowboys wait to act on players, and that's why now Micah is going to command 40 plus. They didn't get Dak's deal done in time. They didn't get CDs. It's just I don't
but
get
you see
that.
but the thing is you see these teams like the Eagles and the 49ers, they took big hits this year, especially the 49ers.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles lost 2 of their best cornerbacks. So, you know, you do pay a price for it. If you go all in, you need to go all in for that year to get to the Super Bowl, because if you miss it, like the Rams did it. They won a Super Bowl. They were hurting for a while.
Yep.
If you go all in, you got to go all in. But you can't lock yourself into a quarterback contract like that. That's ridiculous. He has a no trade clause. He holds all the cards, so you're stuck with it.
Bro, well deserved to Josh Allen though. Was it 5 years, $500 million or $300 million? Sorry, and 250 of it is guaranteed. Isn't that wild, man? $250 million guaranteed.
Yeah, but now you know what you're going to see. You know, if you notice, you saw a lot of these big name receivers. They left their teams. The market's kind of flipping now on receivers. You're not seeing these guys getting in the 30s, but look what happened now. Saquon Barkley flipped the running back market again. You know, what, $21 million a year? That's the highest ever for a running back. Mm-hmm. So it's just crazy. They need to do that for quarterbacks. They need to, you know.
The Eagles are going to be an interesting team because they lost, I think, 3 of their defensive linemen. You know, Chauncey Gardner got traded. It's going to be interesting.
You want to pick the divisions? Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants. If the Giants get a quarterback,
in that order?
If the Giants get a quarterback, it's going to be Commanders, Eagles, Giants, Dallas.
Oh, so Ty, let's get to you free agent grade wise, because I have some thoughts too about the Eagles, Niners, and the Broncos. Broncos sneaky, that defense.
Yeah, I think I would give, first of all, huge round of applause for the New Orleans Saints getting under the cap again. At one point they were like 13 million under the cap. Amen. God is good.
Absolutely.
You know, there were such big rumors about the whole situation with Derek Carr, and the more it comes out, the more it's kind of like, all right, well, why did New Orleans even want to keep Derek Carr? Because a lot of the rumors are Derek Carr wanted to test the free agency market and test to see who would trade for him. And, you know, a guy who already doesn't have a good relationship with the New Orleans Saints fans, and now you see a guy who looks like he didn't necessarily want to be in New Orleans. It's going to be an interesting year. But I mean, Kellen Moore and this coaching staff clearly wanted him. They want to compete for this division. And I told you guys a couple weeks ago that, you know, Mickey Loomis, our GM, and Kellen Moore said, we're going to spend in free agency more than we did last year. We're going to compete, and they're going to slowly rebuild as they're competing, I guess. And not really sure how that is. You know, I'd love to see Spencer develop for a year, I guess, behind Derek. I don't necessarily want to draft a QB. I wouldn't be opposed to a Jackson Dart. Love that move, or Shador drop. And a lot of inside rumors have Shador going to New Orleans, which I don't know how I feel. But man, I got to give Saints a round of applause so far. I mean, they started off yesterday morning for most people with trading for the Patriots defensive tackle. I think it's like Davion Godchicks or something. That's him right there. You know, I mean, our run defense was one of the worst in the league last year. He's a big boy, like 6 foot, some pounds, you know, whatever it is. But I mean, we go into this year's offseason needing defensive tackles, defensive ends. And Kellen Moore said, we're going to win it in the trenches. That's why I brought that up with you, Ace. Haven't signed any offensive lineman yet, but we signed him. And then right before I go to bed yesterday, we lost Paulson Adebo to the Giants, our cornerback, but they land and re-signed Chase Young for 3 years, $50 million, which I love. He's still in his 20s. By the time this contract's up, he'll still be 28. So, all right, you address your defensive tackle, you address your defensive end. And then just moments ago, like Ace said, man, we get a really good safety in Justin Reed. Him and the Honey Badger played together in Kansas City. They're reunited again. And that's huge. I think it was 3 years, $35 million, something along those lines. We lost our 1 year safety who was really good for us last year. And now we just top it and get even better at that spot. I love that we're addressing these big major holes through free agency, because then it doesn't put as much pressure on you to draft. There's a lot of people that believe that they'd rather spend a 6th or 7th round draft pick on someone that has, positioned themselves to be a starter in this league rather than taking a risk on somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. We're filling holes that we desperately need. And now you can go into this draft and be like, all right, we have pick number 9. Do we want to take the best available talent? Do we want to trade back, right? Say Shedeur Sanders does drop to 9. The Saints could easily open their ears and be like, all right, who needs a quarterback? Because we can drop back. We can drop back and get a lot of picks for that. So I'm really. Oh, and we re-signed Juwan Johnson mid-afternoon today, our tight end, which is cool because everyone has Saints taking Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State. I don't know what that looks like now going the draft. So we're filling holes, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Kellen Moore's gonna do, man. I'm so excited for this team. He's built a great coaching staff. We're filling holes, and I would really love to see them go after like an Asante Samuel Jr. or like another wide receiver or running back, like Nick Chubb's.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to be healthy next year, which is going to be amazing with Kellen Moore's offense and the offensive weapons at receiver you have. I guarantee you they're going to be.
That's what I was just going to say.
Top 10 in points scored a game.
My biggest thing,
yards,
Saints,
all of that.
We talk about this every year. The Saints start off so hot.
Yeah.
And every single year they get injured. We got a new sports medicine director. I'm hoping to God that just helps in any given way. Everyone that you listen to in the New Orleans insiders, the reporters, no one believes as a Saints fan that Carr's a bad quarterback. That's very debatable. A lot of people think he's trash. I don't think he's a good quarterback, but he's done a really good job in New Orleans. But between the injuries, and I think I understand on one hand why Derek Carr would want to leave, because you have Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed there, right? Yeah. But New Orleans has never said, all right, we signed you to this contract and we're going to build some talent around you. We really haven't. We haven't gone out there in the past 2 years and signed a 5-star tight end. We haven't gone out there. Yeah. And that's fair. I think with a healthy New Orleans Saints team and a good coaching staff that Kellen Moore has built up, one of the best D-line coaches in the league, some of the best secondary coaches and offense coaches minds. I mean, he's got former head coaches in there with him. Yeah. I could see them winning 9-10 games and win the division. It's a weak division, but it all goes into how healthy can we stay? We talk about this every year, though. We can't say the NFC South is going to be weak because every year every team changes. I mean, look at all the moves that have happened. It could flip flop. I mean, 2 years ago, the NFC freaking North was horrible. They had 2 teams, maybe that was about it. That was solid, and everyone else sucked. Now look at it; it's the best division in football. Yeah. I mean, the Carolina Panthers keep adding to their defense this offseason. Bryce Young had a good second half of the year. Baker's always good. They got Chris Godwin back. So and Falcons, who knows how well Penix Jr. is going to be. I mean, listen, I'm excited. I don't believe Derek Carr's here next year. I think this is a 1-year thing, and I think then they want to invest in a Kellen Moore QB in that next year's draft. I mean, the guy is 35, 37, somewhere in that range. So, it's not like he's the quarterback of our future. But, man, I'm excited. We're filling in some really good holes on the defense. I mean, we all know it. The New Orleans Saints have been a top 10 defense. Besides the past 2 seasons, they were really good. And all of a sudden, new defense coordinator, new players. They reworked Tyrann Mathieu' contract to keep him in New Orleans and save us money. Demario Davis is still there. Let's go, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see who else they can grab. Like I said to Easter seconds ago, Nick Chubb's still out there. We got one running back on this roster, and it's an aging Alvin Kamara who's still good. There's still other guys.
Loaded.
The draft is loaded, but also if you can get like a stud out there.
Why would the Cowboys come out saying they're not getting Genty? Unless it's a smoke screen, because if they're not going to pick up Rico, don't even say anything.
They're not going to pick up a running back in the first round. They're not going to pay running back money in the first round. They're either going to go offensive line, maybe defensive tackle, or they're going to go receiver, which makes no sense. I mean, you're going to pay another CeeDee Lamb big money, so. I don't know. I don't know what the game plan is. But you can get Ohio State's running back in the fourth round.
Ohio State has 2 running backs that are going to get drafted this year. Either one is a starter in this league. The running back depth in the draft this year is so deep that you can draft a guy in the 4th round. He could be a day 1 starter for you. That and defensive line. This is a loaded draft.
They said you can get a good defensive tackle in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You know, so
this
is gonna be a good draft. This is gonna be a good draft. I'm really excited. Going forward, I feel good. What would you say it has been the best team making moves, and what would you say has been the worst team making moves so far this offseason?
The worst, Kansas City. Kansas City lost their freaking all-pro guard, and they lost line. Their line was horrible in the Super Bowl, and they lost more line help. I think my personal thing, I think the best is probably the Chargers. Maybe the Commanders.
How about Najee Harris? Only a 1-year deal.
$9 million.
Whoa, really?
You know, the longest, I heard this on the way home, his longest run in his career is only 37 yards.
I just feel like I haven't seen him do much with Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I think the Chargers did well.
I don't really know who else the Chargers added, but I would.
I don't know who else they added either. That one didn't stand out for me. The Broncos got 2 stud defensive players from the Niners too, and they already have a top 5 defense.
I like what the Commanders have done, especially getting Debo for like a 5th round pick. You add more talent to your wide receiver room.
Traded for Laremy Tunsil.
They got an offensive lineman. I mean, they're building, and they have a good quarterback. I also like low key. I like what the Chicago Bears. I mean, they're loading up their offensive line. They are building that. They traded for 4 offensive linemen and good ones.
Yeah.
You know, people are seeing the talent there. Ben Johnson's there. Ben Johnson's recruiting a lot of people. They got a good coaching staff there. That's a team to watch.
$42 million left.
They say, they say teams that
New England
that make a lot of moves, like typically doesn't pan out in the offseason. And we'll see. I mean, like New England every year. New England makes a lot of moves.
Vrabel's been busy this year.
He's been very busy. New England's been making moves. New England, the Chicago, the Vikings have been making a lot of moves. Like there's a lot. The worst team, in my opinion, though, that has made moves so far is, you could say the Eagles, but I would say the Niners. I mean, they showed on Instagram the list of players that they have lost.
That's hard to come back from.
They're taking offers on Ayuk. You know, you lost Debo, you lost Ayuk, you cut your fullback, you lost 2 of your linebackers, your defensive linemen, your safety. I mean, they lost
$77 million in dead cap money this year.
And Purdy's probably getting an extension soon at some point.
Well, that typically helps though. That helps clear cap sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yep. Push it down.
That's like if we sign Micah, they said we'd have over $70 million in cap space if we sign Micah. But the problem is next year that contract kicks in. You might pay him $5 million this year, but guess what? Next year you're paying him $45 million. You know.
Yeah, well, that's what they were saying with Cars. You know, you restructured his contract, and next year we're supposed to have a lot of money, but you're going to be having left like 69 in dead cap with him. It's like, if you're going to have that next year, why not just cut now? But another team too is the Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, what they did.
You build up this offensive coaching staff with Clint Kubiak. He literally, it's the Saints 2.0. They took all the Saints offensive coaches, and then he gets there, and you're like, all right, we trade Geno Smith before free agency even starts. I don't even know how that happens. He's gone to the Raiders. You release Tyler Lockett. The day you release Tyler Lockett, DK's like, I want to be traded.
They have Najigba. That's it.
That's it.
That happened fast.
And then Sam Darnold signs there, which I don't mind the Sam Darnold.
The money. He took the money.
I don't think, I mean, I think if you could build something around him, I mean, if he can do what he did in Minnesota, like he might be able to build that up.
And another head scratcher is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh signed another good receiver, but they don't have a quarterback. Justin Fields.
If they would have locked down Justin Fields,
I'm calling Atlanta. What are you doing with Kirk? We want Cousins.
Anything.
Yes, I think Kirk fits that offense better.
Or even bring Russell back. I mean, Russell has a connection with DK Metcalf for like 2 years.
Yeah, but Russ don't have the arm. I mean, what did he throw for 2,000 yards last year? I mean, he has no arm. He likes he's got happy feet, you know? He sees those big men coming out of his old ass body and he wants to get out of the pocket quick.
Some of those balls, if he didn't have Pickens back there catching balls, some of those balls he's lofting up there, it's like sitting under a fly ball tie. You're like, when is the sucker coming down?
And not to mention you have Pickens who's becoming a head case. You got Metcalf who's going to want the ball just as much as Pickens. You have a lot of problems in Pittsburgh. You have too much
Who's
talent.
the best quarterback option there at Pittsburgh?
Kirk Cousins.
Rodgers or Cousins?
Would you rather have out of Rodgers, Cousins, and Russell Wilson? Who are you taking?
Well, look, their offensive line is not really that good. So Russ.
What about Jameis Winston?
Maybe Russ can scramble. That's the only thing he's good at. Kirk's not scrambling, and either is Aaron.
You know, Jameis likes to throw that deep ball. You know, Winston likes to throw that deep ball. He knows Metcalf and Pickens. One of them is down there.
And he's a good
young.
leader.
What is he, like 28 years old, 29 years old?
Maybe pushing 30,
Yeah.
31, someone like that.
And you can get him cheap.
What about the Falcons in terms of like not really doing a whole lot? I know they're kind of relying on Penix, but it doesn't seem like they've really done much at all.
They let some
Defensively,
good
they have weapons.
They let a good offensive lineman and defensive lineman go, didn't they?
Yeah. One of the linemen went to the Bears. I know that for sure. The offensive lineman.
What about the rumors of like the Browns wanting Carson Wentz for a while? And Kenny Pickett's there now, so I think Kenny Pickett will compete for the starting job there. But I mean, that was out of left field.
You know who Pittsburgh should call? Joe Flacco.
Bro, why not?
Is he on this list? He's got to be.
I mean, if you're Pittsburgh, like, what's your options, right? You can either sign Aaron Rodgers, or I mean, you could try and trade up in the draft and hope you get an okay quarterback.
My thing is what kind of money does Russ want? What kind of money do these quarterbacks want?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're paying them starter money, but let's face it, you're not as good as you used to be.
I think Pittsburgh's dragging their feet, man. I mean, how do you let Justin Fields just up and go to the Jets?
Because they weren't planning on paying him.
Yeah.
But that contract wasn't even that bad. He's reunited though with Garrett Wilson, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said, if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm calling Atlanta saying, "What are you doing with Cousins?"
So where do we think?
Yeah, I like that.
Where do we think Rodgers lands, and where do we think Wilson lands? I think Rodgers lands in New York.
The Giants. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to move. I think that's just
because they said they're trying to go to the number 1 pick to get Cam Ward. I think Rodgers, and I said this at work today. You put Rodgers on the Giants with those offensive weapons that they have. It's not a bad team.
Just young. He's dude. I can't believe Rodgers still playing.
So he has 2 more years left in him.
2 more years left in him. It's wild.
Okay, so
he'll be with the Giants, get the moving truck, and go to another team after that.
Well, the rumor is that the
Giants got a good D too.
What?
Yeah.
Good defense. Giants got a pretty good.
They do. I think the Steelers. I mean, the rumors in Pittsburgh is that like they're only going to Russ if they miss out on Aaron. So how does that feel? You know what I mean? How does that feel?
Well, the problem is what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins because like he's under contract with Atlanta, but Atlanta is like they don't want to start him next year. I don't think Kirk's going to want to be a backup. He's not.
I think I take Kurt over Aaron and Russell.
And I don't believe Russ is going to go to Tennessee. Why would you go from a team that almost made the playoffs to a team that is not making the playoffs unless you're just looking for more money?
Why Ryan Tannehill? You know what I mean? Like we talked about that last year too. I think realistically, I think I could see Russell going to New York. Him and his wife finally get to go to New York.
Oh, geez.
Play with the Giants. I could see Aaron landing in Pittsburgh.
It was rumored. Wasn't it rumored last year he was going either Steelers or the Giants?
There was a couple rumors for the past couple of years that Russell was going to go to the Giants.
Aaron Rodgers is going to follow the path of the great Brett Favre. Go to the Jets, go to Minnesota, and then retire.
Oh my gosh.
I could.
I wouldn't be bad. I would look if Dak said he's retiring today, and Aaron Rodgers came to Dallas. I'd be happy. I'd be happy.
Yeah. I mean,
if you have a good running game, and they can't just blitz him all the time, and you give him time in the pocket, he's still a top 10 quarterback.
What's Joe Flacco's age?
About 70.
Is he 40? He's got to be.
He's 40. 40.
Same as close to Rodgers.
Let's see what Winston's age is.
Winston's probably getting the senior citizen disc. He's on AARP like
Winston,
me.
Is he good? Is he good enough to start? Like, why not just if you're the Browns, why not bring him back?
31.
I feel like Winston's been in the league since 2000. You know what I mean? When did he play for Florida State? I mean, that had to be decades ago. I mean,
Winston's 31. Russell Wilson is 36.
Yeah.
So where does Winston end up? What are the Browns doing? You get Pickett, which
I heard the Niners were interested in Winston.
Yeah, so did I. I heard that today.
Niners?
I heard Seattle too.
Huh.
I don't know.
My cousin's 36 also.
Jameis needs a chance to start. I think
he did. He did last year with the Browns.
I know. And
then he got hurt.
Yeah, but he didn't start the season.
No, Watson did because Watson's getting paid
but I mean,
$250 million or whatever it is.
But he brought fire to Cleveland. I mean, they went on a little bit of a run. They made one or two games.
You think Myles Garrett? You think he had a say in that, Chris? No, we don't want to bring Winston back.
I don't believe anything Myles Garrett says because he said he wants to go somewhere where he can win, and he turns around and stays in Cleveland.
It takes the
I saw the meme where it's like Mr. Krabs with his glass. He goes, 40 million? I'll be there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, let's be real. Like, if someone's like, hey, like, I know you want to go win a championship, but like, here's an extra 40 million. Like, what are you gonna say? No.
And I think the Steelers are too far back in the draft to draft a quarterback. What are they, like 16?
Unless somebody
17?
drops, man. Unless you see a Jackson Dart drop.
Well, I'm telling you right now, Shedeur Sanders, the way they said that his combine was horrible. He didn't do any drills. They said his interviews were absolutely trash.
Yeah, but it's one guy reporting that he's like, this is what I don't like though, because like it's like the guy that interviewed Tiger Woods. Is he being cocky or is he being confident? There's a difference.
They're saying teams said this. Several teams said this.
I also think there's going to be one quarterback drafted in the first round, and it's not just because of like. Yeah, I think it's just because look at what's happening with the QBs. They're trying to shuffle around, move around a lot.
Jackson Dart.
Dude, I wouldn't mind taking Quinn Ewers either. Quinn Ewers, man, he's in a program that throws the ball, slings that rock.
He had a terrible combine throwing that ball.
That's all right. A lot of people have terrible combines.
Bro, that's like I was talking about this with someone else the other day. Dylan Gabriel for Oregon killed it with Oregon. Like those are guys that like you could sleep on the second, third round and like have them like learn and compete with whoever your quarterback is.
You got to remember in the combine, those quarterbacks are throwing to receivers who they've never thrown to before. Who are trying to make good impressions for themselves. So it's difficult.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of these guys are skipping the combines and having their own pro days.
Yeah, they're more comfortable too in a pro day.
Yeah, Shedeur's going to have his, but he probably won't do anything. It'll probably snow here in Colorado the day he has his.
Well, a lot of times they do in their indoor facility.
They move it in. If so, it'd be pretty though. Get some good pictures and video out there. If that's
he should man up and do it in the snow and show them all those cold weather states. I
with
can
no
play
shirt
in the
on.
snow. Yeah.
I
don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait till the draft. I can't wait to see what the Cowboys do or don't do. But it's interesting.
This always is like the best time where I think as fan bases you just feel energized, even if it's like slow moving with some of the moves.
Yeah, this is the boring kind of year because like March Madness is coming up, but like I don't really pay attention to it anymore because Michigan's good, but they're falling apart lately.
I was hoping to. I kept hearing the rumor that like the Eagles were willing to give Goddard away for like a 5th round pick, 4th round pick, and I was like, bro. New Orleans, hop on that.
You just signed your tight end.
Yeah, Juwan Johnson. But he's the only one we have right now because Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau are both injured.
Let's talk about the curse of the freaking New York Yankees.
Are we're going there?
Just real quick. Why is it whenever we make some big splashes,
man,
we don't do a damn thing, but we get down to freaking spring training, we lose our freaking Louis Guile for 3 months. Freaking Cole's out for the year with Tommy John surgery. I mean, come on, Stanton with tendonitis in both elbows. I mean, come on,
DJ LeMahieu's first at bat.
Get rid of him.
Wait, what happened to Stanton and LeMahieu?
Stanton never did anything. He's got tendonitis. I think it's
both shoulders though. It's like a weird
elbows.
Thing. DJ LeMahieu's first at bat, he like did something to his calf.
He's done. He's like 50.
Garrett Cole needs Tommy John. I mean, we bolstered this pitching staff, and like 3 of them are injured.
Yeah,
that junior kid though at third base, man, bring him right up for the pros. Bring him up. That's all I
they sent that Spencer kid down today. I was like, damn, he has like 3 home runs already.
I was gonna watch the game. The Astro Stadium is like 20 minutes from here, and I mean, spring training tickets $60, bro. Like I was like, are you kidding me?
What?
Like I used to look at the Yankees bleacher stands for $30 last year. It's like you're gonna pay $60 for a spring training game.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Dude, and not only that, but the Rays have to play at the Yankees stadium this year due to the hurricane. Those tickets are gonna be. You could probably sit front row behind the dugout of the home
$20,
60. Yeah, less than 60 guaranteed for a
unless it's Yankees versus the Rays. If it's just a Rays game, you can just walk in there. It's probably free. You got to fill it up for TV.
I wonder if concessions maybe are reduced price, but still, that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to go for a preseason or the A's
beautiful stadium in Vegas. That is
that rendering. That's gonna take them a couple years to build, though.
That is beautiful.
That's gonna be a wild. That's a lot of steel, a lot of framing. That's gonna take a while. That's a lot, dude. The electricity material, the electrical material. I can only imagine the bill for that. A couple billion.
You know what they should do? Honestly, they should do like the Sphere, or whatever that thing is called. When the dome is closed, they actually project the game on the outside of the stadium. Like, because most places nowadays they have these like TVs outside so you can watch the game.
Yes,
they should project the whole game right on the outside. That would be freaking awesome.
Hey, some of these stadiums that they're building are sick. Like the Tennessee Titans, the Buffalo Bills.
The
like
Bills
all
are
these
over
teams,
budget.
It's I can imagine, especially playing Josh Allen.
Ooh. Any more on the Yankees?
That's it.
Okay. So PSA to all the Minnesota sports fans or franchises, watch out, because I want Ziggy Wilf and his team to just buy they got the Vikings, buy the rest of the freaking franchises here. They saved taxpayers a ton of money by paying off their stadium early. So they saved us a ton of money in however that works out, which is huge. So
could you imagine living in a state where the taxpayers had to pay for a stadium and you weren't a fan of that team?
Well, the Twins, like right now, we're freaking complaining about the Twins. Hoping they get us. I'm
a Yankees fan. I'm not paying shit towards that stadium.
Well, we'll see you guys next week. Next week we took a little break. But yeah, man, free agency day 2 almost done today. We'll wrap up on some free agency next week and where we're feeling for the draft, and maybe we'll even do like some division predictions. But yeah, man,
mine already.
Bet a lot of money on it. Give us some if you win it, and we'll see you guys next time.